Welcome back to Chapter 4, Section 8, Writing Fractions as Decimals. All right, to begin with, write each fraction as a decimal. There are some special circumstances where you don't actually have to do long division, where you can simply read this as 7 and tenths, and then you have to just remember that where the tenth place is. Here's the tenth, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, and so on. So 7 divided by 10 is 0.7, or 7/10. 1/4. Well, you could multiply this out to get the decimal, or you could realize that if you multiply both sides by 25, you get 25 over 100. Now, 100 is hundredths. And since you have a power of 10 in the denominator, it could be the hundredths. So you have 25 hundredths. And you remember that here's the decimal. So here's the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. And you now know that 25 hundredths is 0.25. Right here, when you have an eighth, there's no way to easily get an eighth to a power of 10. You can't multiply by 25. You can't multiply by a whole number to make it a hundredth. So instead, you actually have to do the long division. Method 1, use paper and pencil, and long division. So 3/8 gets sets up like this. How many times does 8 go into 3? 0 times. How many times does 8 go into 30? 3 times, and don't forget your decimal. It's 24, that's 60. Bring down the 0. Oh, not that 0. Bring down a 0. 60. How many times does 8 go into 60? Well, that should be 7 times. 56, that's a 4. Bring down another 0. And 5. 5 times 8 is 40, and you get a remainder of 0. So, place a decimal point directly above the decimal point. 3, annex as many zeros as necessary. Basically, we put a 3 here, but we put in zeros whenever we need one. Once a 0 remainder, then you are done. All right, or you could use your calculator. Use a calculator and know that this is the division symbol. 3 divided by 8 is the same as 3 divided by 8, which is the same as 3 divided by 8. There are a lot of ways of setting this up. All right, so let's write these as decimals. This is a tenth, so 3/10 equals 0.3. This is a 20th, but I know that 20 can be made into 100 by multiplying by 5. So you end up with 45 hundredths. This is a hundredth, and there's 45 of them. So you do 0.45. All right, 5/8. You can't do much with 5/8 except for setting up long division. Times does 8 go into 5? Well, that's 0 times. So there's your decimal. Here's your decimal. Put a 0 here. And 8 into 50. Let's think about it. 8 into 50 should be 6 times. That's 48. Subtract is a 2. Annex another 0 and drop it down. 8 into 20 should be 2 times. 16. It's a 4. Annex another 0. 8 into 40, 5 times, with a remainder of 0. So once you have a remainder of 0, you know that your answer is done. 5/8 is equal to 625 thousandths. Right. I know I went through that fairly quickly, but go ahead and rewatch the video and pause it whenever you need to. All right. Writing a mixed number as a decimal. Well, that should tell you, you should be able to notice that 3 and 1/8, that's 3 and 1/8. Well, once the whole number you leave alone, right? You know your answer is going to be 3 and something. So all we have to look at is the 1/8 part. All right, well, how many times does 8 go into 1? Well, 8 does not go into 1. So we write our decimal there, we put annex a 0 and say 8 goes into 10 one time. Subtract, annex another 0 and drop it down. 8 into 20, 2 times. 8 into 40, 5 times. Remember, we're annexing another 0. And our remainder is 0. So 1/8 is equivalent to 0.125. Well, that means 3 plus 3 plus 0.125 gives us 3.125. That would be 3 and 125 thousandths. All right, almost done. So Lily School uses 5 and 4/25. Remember, the 5 is left alone. So it'll end up being 5 point something. And 4/25, you can do it two ways. You can simply say to yourself, hey, 25, I know. Let's multiply by 4/4. And now I have 16/100ths. Or you could set up the long division. 25 goes into 4. It doesn't, but 25 does go into 40. 25, 15, annex a 0, another one. 5 into 150 would be 6 times. 150 with a remainder of 0, and I'm done. So 16/100ths, that's 0.16. 25 into 4, 0.16. Both of these numbers should go, or either of those numbers goes here. So how many boxes of papers did they use? Uh, Capping letters did they distribute? Would be 5.116 or 5 and 16 hundredths. All right. So please do not forget to do the CYUs, and we will work on these problems in class. Good luck.